Beautiful people of the world. Downtown Dimes here with Duke and Sean.
Yo.
All right, so at this point, we're about 5 to 7 games in to the NBA season for most teams. Some surprising things, some not so surprising things. Obviously, it's real early to get a read on anything definitive, but definitely far enough in to get some first impressions and sound some alarms, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that.
Yeah, well, says a Lakers fan.
It's too early, man. Too early.
It is, but is it?
I think so. I'm super optimistic, but it's too early.
It's early
for a lot of teams.
It is early, but I think that it's funny in these types of instances. You know, when a team's doing well, is when you're like, it's too early. There's time for it to go wrong. But especially one of these big market teams like the Lakers and the Nets, it's definitely not too early to sound some alarms, because if the Nets are already holding a players only meeting, there's an alarm there.
Jeez, yeah, I saw that.
So you know what? Let's start with that. Let's start with the Nets. As of this moment,
1-5.
They are 1-5.
Crazy.
Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons. So, how did we get to this point? Let's ask that question.
Oh man, can we pull up their schedule? Because I don't believe that they had a super tough schedule in the beginning.
So their losses are Pacers,
which they should have won.
Yeah. They lost to the Bucks. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, you're supposed to lose against the Bucks.
Grizzlies also doesn't really surprise me.
They should have lost against the Grizzlies.
They lost to the Raptors, which is intriguing.
I think they should have beat them. They should have beat the Raptors.
So enough teams to be like, those are games that you should win. And to me, that's always a thing of a good team. And what I always ask of my teams is, beat the teams that you're supposed to beat.
100%.
And then be competitive in anything else. And the Nets have not given us that. The Ben Simmons experiment, I think that, I listen to a lot of New York sports radio, and a lot of the Nets fans are borderline tired of the Ben Simmons experiment already.
I think he's being scapegoated already. Honestly, I've been watching the games because I'm a Ben Simmons fan, I guess. I'm also a Kyrie fan. It's not all on Ben Simmons. They're a terrible defensive team. Terrible. They
are, and you can't expect one player to save your ass defensively. That's just not fucking possible.
He's actually been great on defense individually, but just as a team, you can pick on him.
Oh, you mean when he's not fouling out?
He's been aggressive. At
least he's been aggressive about something.
Yeah, you can say that much. He's been aggressive on the defensive end.
So, I mean, what's the bigger liability here? The lack of defense on the rest of the team, or the underperforming offense? I mean, is Ben even underperforming offensively?
No. Offensively, Ben Simmons is doing exactly what he's been doing on his past teams and in the past.
Yeah, but he's also averaged 15, 16 points a game on most of those teams. And
yeah, but he's playing with KD and Kyrie now. He's playing with legit scorers where he doesn't have to score even more than he didn't have to score in the past.
All right. So I would agree with you there if they were winning games, but they're not winning games. So if they're not winning games, he could score more.
But so the reason they're not losing, the answer to that is not Ben Simmons score more. It's everybody play better defense. Ben Simmons has been the best defender on the team. They're not getting stops. They have no flaws offensively, in my opinion.
But this has been their identity. That's the thing. Is this has been their identity? Is they have to outscore the other team? It's not
the problem. That's the problem.
But Ben was not going to solve that by himself, and the rest of the team hasn't changed. So to me, the identity of the team still needs to be we have to outscore somebody, and their games are going to look like 140 to 130.
I think their identity needs to change. I think they need to focus on defense because the scoring is going to come regardless. You got Kyrie and KD dropping 30 every single game. Like, the scoring is going to come. They got Steph Curry, Joe Harris. Like, they have a scoring shooting team.
Which to be fair, like Joe Harris is coming back from an injury
Yes.
and has been out again.
I don't even
Seth
think
just played his first game.
Did he? Oh yeah. I was gonna say I don't remember him playing yet. So
I don't remember his line off the top of my head, but yeah, those will help. However, those are also players that don't really play defense.
Seth Curry was 0 for 5. So yeah, 0 for 5.
Seth is not intimidating on defense.
Yeah, no. He's like 6'1".
Joe Harris gives the effort, but he's not making an all defense team. So where does the defense come from? Players who historically have not played defense in their careers?
Something big that I noticed is what's the guy that they let go of someone who now plays on the Nuggets who destroyed the Lakers by himself? What is his name? He played for the Nuggets now. He was on the Nets last season. Let me see. Let me pull this up really quick.
I'm drawing a blank.
6'6", 6'7" guy.
Wing?
Yeah, who was it? Brown.
Oh,
Bruce Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
Letting go of Bruce Brown was a big loss for them.
Well, they thought they were upgrading because I'm pretty sure in their mind that's kind of probably who Royce O'Neal replaced.
Yeah, no, they definitely didn't upgrade. I can say that for sure.
And their bench has ultimately zero defense.
Yeah, defense is this team's biggest flaw. They have no issue scoring. Ben Simmons can't defend everybody by himself, so that's the problem they're gonna go through all season, honestly, unless they make some big move.
Well, and it also still, to me, goes back to the fact that even if they were all playing up to capability, they can't beat the Bucks.
Oh no, yeah, no, I think that's not even in question anymore.
Because I mean, even in his career, Ben has never been able to guard Giannis.
Yeah,
and we saw the other night that he still can't guard Giannis.
Yeah, some of those clips were insane. How he was just bullying Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and he called Ben too small.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was great. It's like the dude's the same height as you. But the thing is maybe he was talking about Ben's confidence level. I don't know.
Let me read the last 3 games for Kyrie. 35 points. Let me see. 30. He had 39 against the Mavericks. The last 4 or 5 games, he's basically averaged 31, 32 points, and they've lost it every single one. I think they got one win out of there, but they've lost every single game.
Well, and KD's been putting up very comparable numbers. I feel like
both of them.
If I don't watch the game and I check the stat line, it's 33 and 33 a piece for them, and then they lose. So
my point is Kyrie's playing out of his mind right now. KD's being KD, and they're still losing. It just tells you the defense is just not there. You don't lose to the Pacers. The Pacers are supposed to be tanking right now. And you know who played well in that game for the Pacers? Miles Turner and Buddy Hield.
Yeah, if I recall, Miles Turner had 27 or something.
Yeah, he had a double-double with 5 blocks or some shit. Buddy Hield had 19, 8 rebounds and 9 assists, a borderline triple-double. And I say that to say, Lakers, send those picks, please.
Yeah,
send Russ and send those picks, please.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the Pacers are going to be looking at a play-in team, so maybe they don't want to sell.
I don't say that, please. Please don't say that.
Hey, you don't know.
But yeah, man. The Nets, they need defense. Luka destroyed them by himself in that game.
Dude, Luka destroys everybody by himself.
Yeah, but against the Nets, it just looked worse. It looked worse. So. Just to give you a rundown, I don't know if you watched the game. Luka brings the ball up the court, calls for a screen, gets either Kyrie or Patty Mills or some small guard on him, backs them down, either gets a turnaround layup or they double him, he throws it out, shooter hits the three. That was the entire game.
Yeah, but that's every game with Luka.
Yeah.
Like that's literally his game.
Man, it was just amazing.
And nobody can stop him.
Yeah, it was just amazing to see though. Like Luka against Kyrie and KD by himself, it was amazing to see. And yeah,
hey, I'm still on my Luka MVP pick. That ain't going away anytime soon.
That's looking good right now, honestly.
It is, but you know, your Embiid ain't looking so good, but your jaw isn't looking so bad.
My dark horse jaw is looking good. Embiid has let me down.
You're not the only one he's let down.
Yeah, I mean the Sixers overall don't look good right now.
Well, and that's all right. So let's move on to the Sixers then, because I think we know the Nets ain't going anywhere. Are the Sixers going anywhere?
Man, they look average right now. There's not a lot of well, they have a few bright spots, but there's not a lot of bright spots right now. Tyrese Maxey, if we want to start out positive, Tyrese Maxey looks amazing. I want to say in the last game he had 41 points. He was ridiculous. First half he was like 7 for 7, 11 for 11 from the field, 7 for 7 from 3, and 11 for 11 from the field. So that game was crazy. James Harden actually looks like James Harden for the most part of these games. Hang on.
At the beginning of the season he did. The last few he did not.
The last few games, yes, but I don't doubt him anymore. I wonder like how he's going to start out the season, what he was capable of still. He looks like he's still capable of dropping 25, 10 and 10 games like that. Like he looks good. Embiid does not look good. He does not look like an MVP this year. Like last year he was on another level. This year, I don't know.
Well, and you know, we've talked about the off-season injury and that, you know, maybe he's not really in shape right now. But another thing too to me is like, especially the first few games, I'm like, am I watching the fucking Rockets?
Yeah.
It's just dribbling.
Yeah. And I guess that's why I say James Harden looks like James Harden.
Yeah, but so in a team in which you're watching James Harden dribble for 40 minutes, where does Embiid fit in?
Exactly. And I think that's where Doc Rivers was supposed to do something about this. He was supposed to implement some type of system to where they can both play together. But to me, it just looks like, all right, James Harden, you go and do your thing, and then Embiid, you go and do your thing. It doesn't look like
they're taking turns.
Yeah, they're not playing together at all, which...
When does that work?
It doesn't. And, I mean, Doc Rivers gets a lot of criticism as a coach, and I think this is another example of, like, come on, man. Like, do your job. He's just so used to coaching stars, and from my perspective, he's so used to coaching stars and just letting them do whatever and carrying him that, like, I don't know. It's just not working. I think his only, like, successful coaching stint was probably the Clippers when they didn't have stars and they won a lot of games, made it very far in the playoffs. But when he has stars, it's clear he doesn't know what to do with them. This is not a successful system. James Harden being James Harden dribbling, and then Embiid just dribbling as well. Like, I don't know. They have too much talent on this team to not be better than this.
Agreed. And I can promise you the city of Philadelphia agrees too.
They have to. 3 and 4. You're telling me Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Embiid, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, they're 3 and 4?
It makes no sense. And I mean, especially when you look at the fact that if they all play to potential, that's like a 3 to 4 all-star lineup.
Dude, that's a good team. That's a good team. Like, there's no excuse for them to be 3 and 4 right now. There's no excuse. They didn't just put this team together. They added a couple, like, really good players to a team they had last year.
But they have been playing better in the last few games. So I think out of all of these like massively underperforming sound the alarm teams, they're the one that I might be the least concerned about.
They're hovering around the middle. And I mean, they beat Toronto, which in my opinion, I mean, Toronto's not that good. They're there off a hustle. They're not that good. And then Chicago was missing, I'm pretty sure they were missing somebody.
It might have been Levine. Well, they're missing Lonzo still.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I thought either DeRozan or Levine were out, but they both played. So I guess that's a legit win. But I don't know, man. they're letting me down for sure because I thought they were going to be one of the better teams in the East. I mean, if people remember from the first episode.
I agreed because in theory they should be.
Definitely.
But they're not. And it is perplexing. But like I said, out of all of these underperforming teams, I do believe that they have the best chance to turn it around.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's literally just the way that they play that is unsuccessful right now. It's not the players. I don't believe the players are really letting us down. Embiid, I think he's going to play his way into form later in the season, but it's their system, man. You can't just ISO ball. That's done. ISO ball is done. Like, be a team, get a system.
The Warriors really created the blueprint of what wins right now,
Exactly.
and it's team ball.
Exactly.
And it's defense, and I wouldn't put Sixers at the top of the list in defense. I also wouldn't put them at the bottom of the list in defense. I think sometimes maybe their bench defense is a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But I think that there is enough there to compete. But all right, I want to drop. I just got done watching like the most nauseating New York Jets loss, and I'm kind of tired of talking about shit that sucks. So let's not for a second. Dude, the Cavs look good.
Oh man, Cavs look amazing. I'm not surprised at all. I think they're on a 4-game win streak right now.
They have looked really good even without Darius Garland.
That's what I'm surprised about. Cavs look amazing even without Darius Garland. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell, who is playing out of his mind. Shout out to Karis LeVert for that last game. They both dropped 41 each on the Celtics, which that game was amazing. I watched a lot of it. Just the team is so good, man. They all just play together. They have a system, and now adding a star. I don't know if you label him a star or a superstar, but adding an all-star in Donovan Mitchell it kind of just puts them like really high up.
So I mean, I owe Donovan Mitchell an apology because before the season started, I said that yes, he is a great player. Yes, I would consider him even before the season a quote-unquote star, not a superstar. And I said that all he really brought was scoring. I was extremely wrong. The dude's like doubled his, and yes, the sample size is still small, and also I think some of this might be a little. I don't want to use the word inflated, but that's really the only thing coming to me right now. He's doubled like his assists per game. Like he's shown more playmaking ability on a consistent night-to-night basis than I've ever seen from him.
Yeah. He's definitely stepped up. He's kind of what I thought was going to happen was Darius Garland would, take over the playmaking duties and Donovan Mitchell would just score. But it seems like Donovan Mitchell has just been both of them for the better part of the beginning of the season.
Well, and I really have to, I think, credit that to the coaching because he was not void of options in Utah.
Not at all.
So, to me, this is all scheme that it's how he's being used, and he's rising to the occasion, and it's really impressive, and good for him. Like I'm really glad that yes, there was all the Knicks possibilities, and at this point we'll never know, and it kind of doesn't even matter, but it's good to see good players get what they deserve.
Yeah. And even on his bad nights, like I think he had a really tough game against Orlando.
He did have a dud the other night.
Yeah, it was against Orlando. He went 5 for 19, and they still win the game like pretty easily, in my opinion. And he found other ways to be effective.
But it's Orlando.
Yeah, he found other ways to be effective. 8 assists that game. So he's playing, man. Like he's playing into the system. He's being the best player on the team, and he's making the right decisions. I love it. He's also still scoring. Like I said, he still gave them the Celtics 41. So I keep putting emphasis on that because that's not easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a league of grown men.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's unlocked a lot of the rest of the team. And here's the crazy thing, like there are some guys that we're still kind of waiting on. Like Evan Mobley is phenomenal, but I feel like he hasn't even been unlocked yet this season.
He hasn't. I mean, he had a double-double, 19 and 10 last game. But yeah, no, he's Evan. We're all waiting for Evan Mobley, honestly.
Defensively, he's still been solid.
Yeah.
But offensively, like he's yet to break out this year. I think he will.
I don't even think they need him to right now. Like I said this in the first episode. Like they have so many options, and they're still growing. And
no Darius Garland.
Yeah, it's insane. This team has a bright future, and it might be sooner than we think.
It might be, and another team that to keep on the upswing here, the Hawks are looking good.
Ah man, I said it last episode. My young teams that I picked, they're looking good.
The
Sixers let me down, but the Cavs and the Hawks, they're looking good, man.
I think my reservation with the Hawks was sometimes you put two good players together and it just doesn't work like you think it would. Or, another example of this would be like the T-Wolves of you just don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And man, DeJounte Murray on that team, it changes Trey's game.
Man.
He doesn't have to be the primary playmaker. It also makes up for the fact that he's a revolving door on defense. Like, let's face it, Trey
100%.
might as well not even defend. But DeJounte Murray is an elite defender.
Man, the way those two work together is kind of flawless, and I hope there wasn't a lot of people that didn't think this was going to work, because I kind of seen from the beginning it was going to work. As long as their role players bought into their roles, like those two are going to be unstoppable. I think the only teams they're really going to struggle with are like really big teams, i.e. the Bucks. I think that might be the only really big team in the East that they have to worry about. Philly's big, but not really.
They ain't playing big.
Yeah, not really. I mean, they got Embiid, but everybody else is kind of like an average size. They might go at it with the Cavs as well. The Cavs aren't big up front, but once you get past those two, you're going against like twin towers. So
I do think that it's a perfect backcourt to exemplify like a modern NBA backcourt, because we've moved into such positionless basketball that it's almost a positionless backcourt where like they're both primary playmakers.
Yep.
Their numbers look very similar on a night in, night out basis, minus the fact that, Trey's just too damn small to get rebounds. But like it's a positionless backcourt. Like there is no one guard, there is no two guard almost.
Yeah, it's just scoring guard and point guard really.
Yeah. So I think that, it's a really fun backcourt to watch, and I really think that it is a prime example of the future of what backcourts are looking like.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we're going to kind of see something similar with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland as well once he comes back. Darius Garland is going to be responsible for the playmaking duties, and Donovan Mitchell's just going to be scoring. But they could also flip that and take turns with it. So I think the league now is just purely about versatility.
All right, you know what? Let's take a quick break here. We'll be back here in a second. Back here downtown Dimes with Duke and Sean.
Yo.
So, Bucks, man. Only undefeated team left in the NBA as of this moment.
Not surprised at all. I mean, the Bucks are a well-oiled machine, led by the best player in the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I hope I said that right.
Sounded good enough to me.
But yeah, man, I'm not surprised at all. Like, Giannis is the best player in the league.
And no Chris Middleton.
And like they have a machine, man. It doesn't even matter. They just have a solid team. They can play big with the bigs. They can play small with the smalls. They can play the in-between. Like, they really don't have any flaws.
They've been drafting well. Like,
yes.
Grayson Allen, I think is actually a very under-talked about bench player in the league.
Yeah, they got him from the Jazz, right? I mean, the last time I seen him play in a different jersey, I think it was on the Jazz a couple years ago. But, yeah, like, they really don't have any weaknesses other than I guess you could say health, which is every team's weakness. But they really don't have any weaknesses, man.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, I just don't understand how anybody cannot say Giannis is the best player in the league, because he puts up the same offensive numbers. You know, you're talking about Kyrie and him going out of his mind, but yet he offers absolutely nothing on the other end.
Yeah.
Whereas Giannis is a beast on both ends. All NBA, all defense, defensive player of the year, MVP. It's all on the table for him every single year.
And he's actually getting better this year. I mean, I don't know if you've been noticing, he's taking a lot more threes, and he's hitting at least one every game.
He has been taking a lot more threes, and they've been decent, you know,
They've been good
for
looks.
the most part, decent. However, he kept shooting threes against the Knicks, and they were horrible bricks,
I think
dude.
he went like 1 for 6, right, or something like that.
Dude, and it was not a good look. But what I will say is, like, the Knicks were defending him, so it's showing that
He's getting that respect.
exactly.
Yeah, he's getting that respect.
So even if he's having a bad game shooting from three, the fact that he's shooting more and more of them are going down, teams are already respecting it.
I want to read his last 3 stats from the last 3 games. So against the Hawks, 34 and 17 rebounds, 1 for 1 from 3. Against the Knicks, 30 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 for 6 from 3. Against the Nets, which this was a crazy game. I don't know if you got to watch this one.
Yeah.
43 points, 14 rebounds, 1 for 4 from 3. All 3 of those games, he took less than 25 shots. He took 25 or less than 25 shots. That's insane.
His efficiency is through the roof.
I think a reporter told him yesterday his last 4 games, that's been the best scoring stretch of his career. That's insane.
He's been getting to the line a lot, and his free
Yeah.
throw percentage has been looking respectable.
Oh, man.
Can we also potentially call him the best rebounder in the league?
We can. 100%. I mean, I think he has competition with Jokic, but
And Gobert. To me, those are the only
Jokic and
two
Gobert,
that you could possibly say maybe.
yeah.
But he may be.
You know what the difference is? He's a forward.
He's
Those
a
guys are centers.
Yeah, and he's dropping 35 plus points a night. So yeah, there's a couple differences there.
Yeah, Giannis is the best player in the league, and it's not close. There's nothing really bad you can say about this team. I think they're finals driven. You kind of just got to pencil them into the finals at this point, as long as they're healthy. I don't think I picked them to make the finals because I'm a dumbass, but they're definitely you kind of got to pencil them into.
I'm just gonna remind you that you picked the Nets.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. That was just me being like super. Honestly, I think that's just what I want. That's just not happening.
Yeah,
just,
that's
because I had
a
the Lakers,
hot take call.
I had the Lakers on the other side, both of the worst teams in the league right now.
Yeah. You pick teams that are combined 1-10 right now.
I think I jinxed both teams. I'm bad luck. LaShawn is bad luck.
Nah,
Whatever I pick, don't. just
You know,
go against it.
I think letting LeBron play GM is what jinxed the team, but we'll get to that.
I don't want to have to defend.
But I do think that the Bucks are literally just going to walk into the finals. You know, as long as Giannis stays healthy, that's really the only question, because I think that, I mean, dude, they're undefeated without Chris Middleton.
Yeah. I still think they need Chris Middleton though.
In the playoffs, yes.
Yeah.
But like if he's shaky and they need to give him, you know, management during the season, so be it.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to come back last game, I believe, or maybe 2 games ago, but someone else got injured, and they're like, you know what, let's not even take the chance. Like, why rush when you're undefeated?
Exactly.
Let him get as much rest as possible.
Yeah, I don't think that you need to push that issue, and I think that when it comes time to the playoffs and they're both playing, it's just game over.
Yeah, man. They look good. I mean, it's not much else to say. Just another East Coast team that just looks amazing.
East, man.
Yeah.
Fucking East.
East look good.
Now, the Bucks are the number 1 seed in the East right now. Obviously, super early. The Blazers are the number 1 seed in the West.
I don't believe it. I don't believe in their team. I think we go through this every year with somebody. Like Dame and Anthony Simons they're great together. But it's the same as like Dame and CJ.
You know who's weirdly like unlocked that team? Josh fucking Hart.
Oh yeah, that was a big pickup for them. Super jealous.
Super smart basketball. Fills the entire stat line. He's not gonna score 30 every night, but like if he gets you 5 steals and 3 blocks, that's a really productive night.
We should have another topic about this one day where we can spend more time on it. But Draymond really set the tone for like the perfect role players. Those 6'6", 6'7" guys who just do everything. Like you need those guys on your team to win a championship. And Draymond set the tone for that. Josh Hart is like 6'6", getting blocks and rebounds. Like he's completely playing out of his size and position, and it just works. The same thing with Bruce Brown. So you got like Draymond, Bruce Brown, Josh Hart, and I'm pretty sure there's some others out there. I just can't think of the names right now. But those 6'6", 6'7" guys, utility guys, they're amazing. You need those on your team to win a chip.
And I think that's really the only way I can describe how Josh Hart is playing is that he's playing winning basketball.
Yes. Yep. Winning basketball.
And Dame is out of his mind. Dame is Dame.
Dame is Dame.
And I think a big part of it too is he's healthy this year.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big issue with last year. Even when he was playing, he wasn't fully healthy. And he was still, you know, quite good, but we're seeing a healthy Dame this year.
He has another partner in crime too. Anthony Simons looks really good.
He does.
He keeps having these like explosive quarters where he drops like 10 to 12 in one quarter, hits like 5 threes or some crazy wild stat. Like he's been good, but it's the Trailblazers, man. It's Dame and a co-star and a decent team. They'll be good in the regular season. I think they fizzle out at some point in the season. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but they're not doing anything in the playoffs. Dame just doesn't have enough, and I mean I don't think anybody would argue with me with that.
My gut is to agree. I do think that they'll filter down a bit in the standings for sure. Like I don't see them as a 1 seed, but like if they play well enough basketball and end up 4 seed, I wouldn't be shocked either.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be shocked about that.
I think that how important Dame is to that team, he'll need to be paced if they want postseason contribution.
Yeah. I think the tale of this team is always just going to be Dame doesn't have enough. Dame is amazing, but he doesn't have enough.
He doesn't have enough, but the thing is if we make it to the trade deadline and they're still like the 3 seed, you got to think that they're going to do something.
Yeah. But what do they have? Like, I don't know. I don't know what assets they really have.
Future picks, you know, everybody wants picks. Everybody wants unprotected picks.
I would imagine Anthony Simons has a lot of value on the market, but I don't know.
I don't think you can get rid of him and improve the team at the same time unless it's like an absolute blockbuster. Yeah.
It had to be a superstar.
And I don't even know what superstars, you know, trying to predict KD. You know, but is that even enough for KD? I don't know.
I don't know. Looking at what Rudy Gobert went for, I don't know what like the trade market. I don't know what
you can't count Ainge because the dude's literally just delusional.
Yeah,
and the T-Wolves were dumb enough to go along with his delusions.
Yeah, the market's crazy. I don't know, but yeah, Dame, they look good. They look good. Jeremy Grant looks good. Josh Hart looks good. They have a decent team. At the end of the day, we know Dame doesn't have enough. You can't win a championship with one superstar.
No, you can't. But I think that if they are still in this position come the deadline, they'll have to add another superstar. And I really do think that, especially with how bad they're playing.
Yeah. And also, let me take back what I said, because Steph Curry just won a championship as the only superstar. Or basically all-star on this. Well, no.
Yeah, but it's
Andrew
team
Wiggins,
basketball. But Wiggins played out of his mind. But you know how bad they were playing. the Nets in particular, like, imagine KD on that team. Imagine Dame with KD.
Yeah, that's a championship team right there.
So
yeah, but that's two superstars.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. So obviously the Blazers are a bit of a question mark of they're good, but are they good enough? Are the Jazz for real?
Oh man, this is tough. The Jazz are not real, but they are good and fun to watch. I've watched maybe one game. I've watched a lot of highlights from them. They look fun, but they're not real, man. Like Lauri Markkanen's like their best player right now.
Or Jordan Clarkson.
Clarkson. I think he's coming off the bench still.
He's been starting quite a bit. I don't know if he started every game, but
yeah, I don't think the Jazz are real.
I don't think so either, and I think Ainge is sweating hard and really thinking about, how quickly can I blow this team up.
Yeah, I think halfway through the season, half that team is gone. They have more picks. They have more young players. I don't think Jordan Clarkson will be there the entire year. Although I think a report came out saying that he doesn't want to trade Jordan Clarkson. Rudy Gay will be gone. Mike Conley will be gone. Like, I don't see it. It's not real. They're starting out good start, but
dude, free Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get rid of everything else around him, that guy deserves better.
Yeah, he should be on a winning team.
So you're saying he shouldn't be on the Lakers?
I actually don't want any more guards on the Lakers. Please keep guards away from my team. Please.
He's a bit of a bigger guard. I mean, we're not talking a 6'1" guy here.
Yeah, but man, we don't need any more guards, man. We have enough. We need big players.
Lagarde.
Yeah. Lagarde. Well, yeah, man. Let's get to some of these individual performances.
I mean, to me, the individual performance that needs to be talked about is Luka Doncic.
Oh man. Well, before we get to that, who do we have like MVP right now? Aside from who we picked,
Luka Doncic.
Okay, yeah. I say it's either Luka or Giannis. Giannis probably not going to even be in it right now just because of narratives, but Luka looks amazing. He's destroying teams by himself in a very skillful way.
I'm telling you, what I said last time of he gives me LeBron put the team on my back, specifically the Cavs, and just carry the whole goddamn team. He's really the only one that I've seen do it to that same level lately.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I'm seeing it after watching these 5 or 6 games that they've played. Luka is doing everything.
I mean, he's having 40-point triple doubles. Like it is insane what that kid's capable of.
It's like no matter who's on the other side of the court, it's him against them. Like he has some knockdown shooters around him, but he's doing everything. He's literally doing everything.
Yeah, and I think that when it comes to who's going to get the MVP, I still think it's going to come down to seeding. I think that if the Mavs are a top 4 seed, it should be Luka.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at a 6-7 seed with the Mavs and the Bucks are the 1 seed, it'll probably end up being Giannis.
Yeah. I want Giannis to get another one just because I don't want to, like, LeBron got robbed of a lot of MVPs back in the day. I don't think we should do that to Giannis. Like, I hate
agree.
The fatigue shit.
I agree, but dude, Luka needs one too. Like Giannis already has one.
Yeah,
Luka needs one.
No, Luka does need one, but he also needs to be in that. Like you said, he needs to be in that top. I think he needs to have a top 3 seed to get the MVP. Honestly,
and with as bad as the West is, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
However, and you know how I feel about this, I have extreme doubts about the rest of that team.
You're not wrong to have those doubts. The only bright spot I really see on the team right now is Spencer Dinwiddie has some good nights, and Christian Wood off the bench has been
who should not be off the fucking bench.
Yeah, I don't know.
Christian
Jason
Wood should be
wants to do it,
but he should be starting over Finney Smith. Like to me, that's no question.
Yeah, he looks good though. Like regardless if he's coming off the bench or starting, he looks good.
And they still have Tim Hardaway off the bench.
Yeah, I like Tim Hardaway. I don't know what they need, but they definitely need more. I don't know what they need though.
I mean, this is a superstar league. They need another superstar.
Yeah.
Luka's their only superstar. However, I'm going to pose this because I honestly don't even know the answer and how I feel about this, but Luka is so ball dominant.
Who could play with him?
Yeah. That's my question is like who would be the best fit for him with how ball dominant he is?
Oh man, that's tough. What superstar do we know that like plays off the? Oh, I guess you can always just go back to KD. He kind of fits with everybody.
Yeah, and then you start to look at like KD archetype players of Brandon Ingram, but the Pels ain't selling, so it doesn't really matter.
I think Devin Booker would play really good with Luka. Luka and Devin Booker would be crazy.
That would be pretty nuts, and dude, that would be a big guard combo.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, so there are some superstars out there that could play with them.
But all right, but let's
exactly.
That's my thing. Like story. Who could be? All right, I actually do have one. As much as it breaks my heart to even say, SGA.
SGA and Luka.
I think SGA can play off ball very well.
I was gonna say he can, but SGA is so much better with the ball in his hands.
He is. But, I mean, most superstars are in general. So, at this point, you're looking at complementary basketball on the team.
So, SGA is not, like, for all his, I mean, he's a really good player. And for all his the good things about him, he's not really a great three-point shooter. I don't think him and Luka would work that. I mean, they would work because they're both just really good. But I don't think it puts them over the top. I think you got to give Luka somebody like a Bradley Beal or a Jason Tatum or even
a Dame.
That would be stupid. Well, yeah, like somebody who can play really, really good off the ball, who's a superstar off the ball. There's a lot of superstars on the ball. There's not a lot of superstars off the ball.
And I do think that he would need like a strong defense.
Yeah. Yep.
With him as well, like a vintage Clay.
Yeah, man. That'd be something. I don't know how the Mavs get that for him. I don't know what assets they have, but they definitely got to do something because just like with any other superstar, time's running out.
Well, and how much time do they have before Luka wants out?
Exactly.
Before he starts to believe that, hey, they can't build a team around me. I'm the best player in the league. We say that Giannis, but I'm gonna say I don't think Luka's far behind him.
Man, that was tough.
He doesn't play the defense, which I will say.
Yeah.
But I would say that maybe some of his overall playmaking offsets that a little bit.
I could agree with that. And his shot making ability. I mean, some of the shots that Luka takes, Giannis could never do.
He just has that serendipitous skill of just like, I'm my back's to the basket. I literally don't even know where I am on the court. I'm just going to throw the ball in the air and somehow it ends up in the basket.
Yeah. I mean, Giannis isn't hitting step back threes. Luka offensively is it's magic. Luka magic.
It is.
He can score from anywhere on the court. He takes advantage of any small guard on the court. Like, the way they create mismatches on the court is just, it's kind of beautiful sometimes. Like, you just know it's going to happen every single play. Like, Luka's hunting anybody who he knows he can pick on. And then once you double, kicks it out to a shooter, you've made a mistake. You just got to live with either they're making shots or Luka's making shots. Like, you're stuck in a tough spot either way. So,
are there any other individual performances that are surprising you in a good way?
I mean, we can talk. We kind of covered a little bit. We can talk about SGA. I mean, he's been on a tear.
Yeah, SGA has. I definitely want to talk about him when I talk about the Knicks for spoiler-free reasons. I think that some of the surprising in a good way performances for me are actually going to be who I think to be the two top rookies right now. Paolo has played great, and Benedict Mathurin has played phenomenal as well. And I think that, we said that Paolo is going to easily walk away with Rookie of the Year. And while I would definitely say he has a pretty healthy lead early on that, Mathurin has looked quite good.
Yeah, man. Paolo's definitely looked good. He's living up to the hype. Man, the NBA is so political. I don't see anybody else winning it except Paolo. Just because he's playing so good and he has the name, it's gonna be hard to give it to somebody else.
I do agree, and honestly, probably my favorite part about him is his physicality. Like, a lot of these rookies need time to get strong and play with big guys. You look at Chet and his slight frame and wonder, I mean, how did he hurt himself?
Yeah.
Who was he guarding?
Yeah.
If you're guarding LeBron and you're built like that, you're going to get hurt. I think it's just
100%
common sense. Imagine him trying to guard Giannis or Zion.
Not happening.
But like Paolo's already a bit thicker, and more muscular. And I think that's part of his success is he's a very physical player and he knows how to use those physical tools. And as far as his physicality goes, he actually does remind me a little bit of LeBron, not from the playmaking side. And I'm not saying the kid's going to be LeBron, but like just his physical domination and how he's able to use that so early in his career, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, and I think what really stands out to me with him is anytime a young player can come into the league, put up big numbers, and be efficient, I think that's always a good sign. Like, a lot of the times we'll see a young player come in, he's jacking up like 30 shots a game, only making like 10, 12 of them. Paulo's actually really efficient. Like, he's getting from the 3, from the 2.
And he's getting to the line. He's getting to the line already, which is, I think that's one. If you look at a lot of these players, even Giannis, like, I think one of the biggest things to unlock in the league when you get to it is figuring out how to get to the line.
Yep.
You look at James Harden's dominance at the line over the years. Like, imagine if Harden wasn't getting to the line.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, that's one of my biggest critiques about pretty much everybody on the Knicks is nobody knows how to get to the line consistently. And in a lot of instances, that's a free 10 points right there. So I think that there's a lot of things that are looking up about Paolo's game and how it will translate into his future in the NBA.
Yeah, no, he's definitely going to be a really good player. Just to switch it up just a little bit, how do we feel about the Clippers? They're on a 4-game losing streak. Kawhi is still coming off the bench and or not playing. It's
mostly not playing.
Very early in the season for him to not be playing games completely.
I know, and there's a little bit of concern there. Paul George has been very up and down.
Paul George has been terrible.
He's had a good game here and there.
I think he had one good game. I believe they lost to the...
They're definitely being careful with John Wall. Although John Wall has had moments where he's looked really good.
John Wall has looked good, in my opinion. He did this one like under the hoop like layup that just looked so beautiful. It looked vintage. John Wall.
But he's still not starting. He's still coming off the bench.
Yeah, they lost to the Thunder twice, I believe. SGA cooked them twice.
Well, and I think that is a big thing about not having Kawhi, because who's going to guard a player like that? Normally, if let's say that you're in the postseason, let's say that he's healthy, that's going to be who Kawhi is guarding, and we all know how good Kawhi is defensively.
Yeah.
So I think that the Clippers are the team that we think they are, but the players that make them that team are not putting in the minutes right now.
Yeah, man, it's tough, and I'm looking now. They actually just lost to the Pelicans without Zion. Did BI play?
No, BI I think is still out with the concussion.
Oh no, Zion did play.
Yeah, Zion's back, but BI I think is still out with the concussion.
Zion with 21 and 12, 7 assists. Yeah, they just lost to the Pelicans. I think that puts them at a 5-game losing streak.
Does that make them 2-5 at this point now?
2-5. Man, this season's weird, man.
It is, and I really
season's weird.
Actually no, I think that makes them 2-4.
Oh, they're 2-4. Okay.
Yeah,
my bad.
But yeah, they're not. I don't know. Like I had them winning a lot of games because I just thought that they were a very deep team. I thought that they were a very well-rounded team.
Yeah.
But again, like the things that make them that are not being utilized right now. I mean, Reggie Jackson is still starting at point guard, is he not? I think he is.
Yeah, he should be.
And I don't see why John Wall can't. I don't. The dude didn't play basketball for like 2 years. Why the hell are you limiting his minutes?
Yeah, I don't understand it, man. I know the knee injury has always been serious since the Spurs, but I don't know. Maybe it's just been getting worse.
But if
every
he doesn't,
year.
but that's the thing is he doesn't need to be the number one option. He doesn't need to drive to the basket. He can be the playmaker, and he is a phenomenal playmaker when he does so.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The Clippers are in a tough spot. This is the year that they have to win. Everybody said this is the best Clippers team. It doesn't look like it right now. I picked them to be one of the best because of their depth, and it's not there. So, I don't know, man. Clippers in a tough spot.
So, I mean, we were talking about teams that we're kind of already panicking about as the Lakers and the Nets and whatnot. I actually do think it is slightly too early to panic about the Clippers. I think that it's time to look at them a little bit, but I don't know that it's panic time.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think it's panic time. I just think it's super concerning that Kawhi is missing full games this early in the season. Like coming off the bench and playing 15 minutes, I understand. But missing games entirely and the season just started concerns me. Because that just says like, yo, this is real. And they're losing.
Well, it says that they're concerned, basically.
And they're losing. And Paul George doesn't look great. He looks a bit slower than he did in past years. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. They don't look good right now. They don't look like the best team in the West. I don't know how you just low manage the entire season and then get to being the best in the West. So, good luck to them.
It's early. There's a lot of basketball to play.
Very early, yeah.
You know, so it could turn around. Like I said, I don't think it's panic time, but I do think it's time to. The Kawhi thing is the biggest head scratcher to me.
Yeah, and they're resting him against good or quote unquote bad teams. So imagine when their schedule gets tougher. Do they win those games?
And he has a tough defensive assignment, and then I don't know. We'll see. All right, this is the moment that I've been waiting for this entire time. I am going to relinquish the microphone and let this man get his feelings out about this Lakers squad.
Man, where do I start? We're 0-5 right now. We are literally the worst team in the league. It pains me to say that LeBron James is on the worst team in the league. It doesn't even make sense. Like, I can't even finish that sentence. LeBron James is on the worst team in the league. And then I can go further. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook are on the worst team in the league. It makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense at all. Russell Westbrook has been like this roller coaster, and the highs aren't really high. It's just like, you know, like a baby roller coaster. Like you're going up and then you're going down. Like it's been terrible, man. Like it's been terrible to watch. It's embarrassing as a Lakers LeBron fan. It's super embarrassing. Anthony Davis is hurt again with a new injury this time. He has lower back soreness. I seen a play where like he went up for a rebound. Or no, he went up to dunk the ball, came down and started holding his back and grimacing. That was like super concerning. The Nuggets game really stood out to me. The Nuggets would get the rebound and Jokic would sprint up the court and he's making it down the court faster than Anthony Davis. Now think about who I just said. Jokic was outrunning Anthony Davis. Man, like LeBron's jacking up threes, which I'm not really mad at just because he does this every season. He's gonna start shooting well. LeBron always starts out the season shooting terrible. If you're a LeBron fan or you pay attention to him, you know this happens every season. He starts out shooting bad. People complain. He works his way back into form, and then he looks like a sniper. It happens. The same thing happens every year. But he's been okay. He's been kind of like disengaged defensively, even though they do have the top. I think they have a top 5 defense in the league right now. So there's some really small bright spots in this season, but
do they have a top 5 defense, or do teams just not need to score that much to beat them?
No, they have a top 5 defense. Watching the games, they look good. Defensively, they look good. There's some bright spots in this team to where you trade Westbrook for Buddy Hield and for Miles Turner, and you have a good team in there. You have a good team in there. This team cannot fucking score. That's the problem. They can't score. If LeBron and Westbrook or Anthony Davis aren't scoring, they're gonna lose the game. And it sucks to watch, man. They're wasting another year of LeBron. They're wasting another year of Anthony Davis. Just recently, they finally decided to bring Russ off the bench. He played well. He played really good off the bench. They still lost the game, of course, but Westbrook leading that second unit, which I've been preaching this like since he first joined the team, like since we first saw that it wasn't going to work, because you can't have 2 ball-dominant players playing next to each other. LeBron and Russ cannot share the court together. It just doesn't work. Maybe in crunch time, but it just doesn't work. You put Russ on the bench and let him lead that second unit, I think we look amazing. The only problem is, in the past, like, Russ has had shooters around him. This team has no shooters, like none at all. Like, I think our best shooter is LeBron, which is not good. So the team, we suck. We have good defense. It's embarrassing because we still haven't won a game. I think even as of last night, the Kings beat the Heat, and they're no longer they actually have a win now. The Kings have a win before the Lakers. Orlando Magic has a win before the Lakers. The Jazz have like 3 more wins than the Lakers. Who else? The Thunder have more wins than everyone has more wins than the Lakers. It makes no sense. And we can't even tank because our pick goes to the what's the team?
The Pelicans.
The Pelicans. Yeah, we can't even tank because our picks go to another team. Like, we're in the worst spot in the league.
Dude, I can't, can you imagine in a theoretical sense that the Lakers end up getting the number 1 pick in the lotto in going to the Pelicans for Wembanyama?
Yeah, it would just be insane. It's just
there would be riots.
Yeah, and a report came out from the front office saying like, oh, they're gonna wait 20 to 25 games before they trade Russ, and I'm just like, what? Like, do you not understand? We don't have a win right now. We could be like 3-15, 3-17 by the time it's time to trade Russ. And then what? Like, we're in such a hole that it doesn't even make sense to go for the trade. Like, the season's done at that point. So I don't understand what they're doing. I think the play was either trade Russ before the season started, give up those picks, or like we're just gonna witness like one of the worst Lakers seasons in NBA history.
But I honestly don't think that the Lakers are going to be willing to do what it takes, because I honestly think that Russ isn't the only person you need to trade. I think that AD will never be the AD, even that peak AD was Pelicans.
Yeah.
That was the best basketball he's ever played in his career and ever will play in his career. And then after that, you had Bubble AD. I don't think we'll even see Bubble AD ever again. I do think you should very seriously consider trading Anthony Davis.
I've seen that come across a lot lately. Man.
Because he still has value. People are still going to buy into what he's been.
Yeah, and to start the season, like, he was amazing. He covers up so much defensively, like, because, I mean, obviously we got a whole bunch of guards on our team, so he just has to worry about protecting the paint the entire game. He covers up so much. And I think, like, having to cover up so much and do so much is putting a strain on his body on top of, like, previous injuries that you can't wait 20 games to get him some help. You can't tell me that, like, inputting Buddy Hield and Miles Turner into this lineup doesn't, like, relieve everybody. It slots everyone back into their right positions. It gives us shooting. It gives us more paint protection. AD can be a 4 if we have Miles Turner. Like, AD does not want to play the 5 the entire season, and we see why. I saw a play against the Nuggets where, like, AD goes up for a rebound and Jokic kind of elbows him in the back, and, like, he's kind of done for, like, physically he's done for the rest of the game. He stayed in the game, but he was done for the rest of the game. Just off an elbow from Jokic, which the refs didn't catch, by the way. Kind of sucks, but, like, we need help. We need size and we need shooting. I don't understand, like, I just don't understand it, man. I don't understand the waiting. Unless you truly believe, like, or unless you don't want to compete and you truly believe like this AD LeBron thing is over with, then I guess I understand keeping the picks. But when have the Lakers, like, the Lakers are gonna trade those picks for one day anyway? Like, come on.
I do think that moves will be made because, I mean, if it's been very evident that, I mean, LeBron appears to make more decisions than Pelinka does.
I actually disagree with that. Because if LeBron's truly the GM, why is Russ still on the team? Why didn't Ty Lue get the coaching job? Like, there's a lot of things out there that say, like, LeBron actually doesn't have control.
Well, you know what? I don't think it matters who has control because whoever it is sucks at it. And I don't think that the other person is going to be much better anyway.
Rob Pelinka, I don't know, man. He's not a good GM at all. He's just not a good GM.
Out of all of the Westbrook trades that I've seen floated around there, I do really only think that the Heald Turner one is the one that makes you a contender.
Yeah, Heald Turner makes us a contender. The Spurs trade gives us more flexibility to bring in more players. We get a couple shooters, and then we also get money to be able to bring in somebody else. I haven't liked Kendrick Nunn since the preseason. I'm open to him being traded at this point. Another thing that sucks is, like, not only do we suck, but we also got hit with the injury bug really early. We lost Thomas Bryant. We lost Dennis Schroeder, who's going to be good for us. Like,
I'm sorry, it's hard to not laugh at that statement.
Yeah, I know that whole thing was stupid. But yeah, we lost players in the beginning. Juan Toscano Anderson has been playing good as a role player, but I mean, we lost him to, I think he has like an ankle sprain or something. Don't know if he plays tonight or not.
Reeves has been playing well.
Reeves has been good. It's just, man, it's tough, man. It's tough. They gotta make the trade. At this point,
and that's the only trade. You know, I mean, do you really think that the Clarkson Beasley trade would make you a contender?
No. It gives us more shooting for sure. Like, at this point, any trade makes us better because our defense is top 5. If you give us shooters with a top 5 defense, we're going to be better naturally. It's just we don't have shooting. Like, the offense is good until we need to start making shots because we don't make shots. Like, any trade makes us good. The Pacers trade makes us a contender. But other than that, they just have to do something. Like, you have to do something. Even now, like, it just doesn't make sense, man. Like, you're either gonna give up those 2 picks, or you should just trade LeBron and AD at this point, because you're punting this season. Who knows what LeBron looks like next season? Who knows what AD looks like next season?
Well, you just extended LeBron, so I don't really think that that's even really on the table. Yeah. I think that the real question is, you know, do you even think that this season is salvageable? And if not, do you wait for, you know, I know that you're not going to be able to give Kyrie a max next year or whatever that money works out to be. If I recall, it's not a max. It's like in the 30s is what he'd be able to get. But the other question is, you know, has Kyrie damaged himself in the public image wise? And, you know, he even admitted in the one press conference that the offers for him weren't more or less what they could have been because people question his commitment.
Yeah. And,
you know, will that lower the value enough to make him, you know, the option for your shooter? No, but is even that enough?
No. So what the league has shown us, I mean, man, there's such a larger conversation that needs to be had about the NBA and this front office in general, but the league has shown us that it's not about getting like the most superstars on your team. It's about having 1 to 2 superstars and building around them with good NBA players. If we go out and use all of our space on Kyrie, the rest of the team is just going to be 1 year mid-level exception deals. Like that doesn't work anymore. We see it does not work anymore. You need 2 good players and to build around them. We need to use that money that we're gonna have to build a solid team, and not just 3 superstars. If one of them goes down, our team sucks.
Well,
we just went through this.
That's the Warriors' blueprint.
The Nets just went through this. Like, we see it does not work. You have to build a team around 2 players. You can't spend all your money on 3 players and then just fill it with like a bunch of players who don't even belong in a rotation. It doesn't work.
If you really look at, the teams that are having success in the postseason right now, you look at the Warriors, that's how they're built.
Yeah.
You look at the Bucks, that's how they're built. You look at the Celtics, that's how they're built.
Yeah, it's so clear. Like, even the Lakers' bubble chip was 2 superstars in a team of good players. How did they get away from that?
The Rush trade is what destroyed this team. Dude, Kuzma
looks amazing.
Right?
He looks good. He looks good on the Wizards. He's a good role player. He's big. He can shoot. He gets rebounds. He can score now. Like, his game has opened up so much. Caruso looks good for the Bulls. Like, all the role players that they had that won the championship, they look great on other teams as role players. No, they weren't like superstars or all-stars. They were good players who knew their role. And the Lakers traded all of that away for one player who doesn't even fit with the other 2. Like, he doesn't even fit on it. It just doesn't make sense, man. They chase. Really, we have to blame the Nets for going after James Harden, because I don't think the Lakers trade for Russ if the Nets don't build that big 3.
Well, the stupid thing is they both made the same fucking mistake.
Yeah, I think the Lakers were chasing the Nets like, oh, they got a big 3 over there. They're going to make the finals. If we want to beat them, we got to match it. And it didn't work.
And that's the thing. Both of those teams, like all the players, dude, imagine if the Nets still had Jared Allen, did Dinwiddie go in that?
No, I think he was going before that.
I know Taurean Prince went in that. Also, great role player.
Yeah, like, dude, the league is just 2 stars, and you build your team with good players. And we see now all the good role players. You got to pay a lot of money for those guys. Like, role players aren't cheap anymore like they used to be. You have to pay a lot of money for these role players. I mean, Buddy Hield has a crazy deal. Like, Buddy Hield is just a shooter. He doesn't even play defense, and he has a crazy deal. Like, these guys are getting paid, and the Lakers just they aren't accounting for that. Like, they're a very cheap team, in my opinion. It seems like they try to like spend the least amount possible on their players. They don't value role players at all, and we see they traded away all of them for a player that doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense, man. I hope that they either trade Russ and those picks to fill out the starting lineup, or they trade AD and Russ, man, because it just doesn't make sense anymore. Like, LeBron's going to pass Kareem this year, and nobody's going to care because they're going to be like fucking 10 and 40. Like, this is just not a good season.
That's going to be the only reason to watch Laker games.
Yeah. And to answer your first question, I think the season is salvageable if they make the trade now. You cannot wait 25 games to make this trade.
Yeah, and I really think that's the Hield Turner trade is the only one that accomplishes anything. And I almost think that if you can't do that trade,
it's not worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and I would agree with you. It's not worth right now it's not worth going after those trades if you have to give up both picks. That's the only trade where I would give up both picks. The Hornets trade, if you don't have to give up both picks, I'm doing it.
Yeah, but it gets you nowhere.
Nah, it gets you some shooting and size. The Hornets get you shooting and size.
Yeah, so Gordon Hayward can play 20 games?
Nah, Gordon Hayward's been good.
Yeah, but
Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and maybe Kelly Oubre. I like that trade a lot. I haven't seen the inclusion of Oubre. That makes it a little bit better. 'Cause to me, that hedges the bet of Hayward getting injured a little bit. Yeah, so the package would actually be surrounding Terry Rozier. So it would be Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and then another wing player. And also, since we're taking on so much money from them, we would only be giving up one pick. That works for both sides, in my opinion.
It does, but it doesn't make you a contender in my eyes.
Man, I think it makes us a contender if, and this is always a big if LeBron and AD are healthy. because you get that third player in Gordon Hayward. You get the shooting in Terry Rozier and another one of their shooters. Well, let's just say Kelly Oubre to fill that spot. That's 2 shooters, and then that's Gordon Hayward, who is the third best player. But it's all with the Lakers right now. It's always on health. I always say, if they're healthy, that's a good team. That's a contending team.
Yeah.
If healthy, that's a contending team. If somebody's hurt, obviously.
If healthy and if AD plays to what he's capable of playing.
Yeah.
Which those are almost 2 different concerns.
AD's been good this year, though. It's just he has to do so much because the team is so terrible.
I don't know, dude, because there's been times where, I haven't watched all the Lakers games, but I've seen moments where AD could easily play above the rim and get to the basket, and instead he's posted up against a guy half his size and he does a turnaround jump shot instead when he literally just could have dunked on the dude.
So from what I've been seeing, I've been watching every game. The Lakers stars, LeBron and Anthony Davis, they cannot drive to the basket because they're going to get double. The team is packing the paint because they know the entire team can't shoot.
But that used to not matter for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, when he was like prime. And actually, like even back then, they couldn't double back then. They weren't doubling. They would double AD and he would kick it out to a shooter. And we actually had the chance to score. Now they don't even care. That's the problem. This team is built to hurt Anthony Davis and LeBron. LeBron's still going to get his because, he's LeBron. He always finds a way, but Anthony Davis isn't LeBron. Like, Anthony Davis
Well, and people aren't scared of Anthony Davis anymore, I think is a big part of it, is that nobody's like, man, we can't let AD beat us. Now it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to not let LeBron beat us. I dare AD to beat us.
And I think AD's shooting like 18% from the field, too. He's not a good shooter anymore. Anthony Davis losing his shot is another thing that doesn't get talked about enough. He can't shoot anymore. And it just makes it like the GM did not do this team any favors with the roster construction. Like, not only did our 2 shooters like regress in shooting, but we also regressed all around them. So now they can't even get into the paint anymore. It's a miracle that LeBron still dunks the ball at this point. When there's 3 defenders just waiting for them in the paint, like, it's amazing. So we're in a tough spot right now. In my opinion, they just need to make it. They just need to do a deal. I don't care. Either do a deal or trade AD, and then once LeBron's able to be traded, trade LeBron. Like, this is just sick. It's sick to watch. Russ is in his hometown getting booed and treated like shit. Like, it's just sick to watch. A LeBron, AD, and Russ team should not be 0-5. This should not be the worst season in Lakers history. Coming off of one of the worst seasons in Laker history. They can't go back-to-back with worst seasons in NBA history. They're shooting the worst in NBA history from the 3. Like, since the three-point line was the three-point line, they're shooting worse than any team ever. That's insane.
That's...
In an NBA that's been revolutionized by Steph Curry in the three-point line. We're shooting the worst. We got good defense, though. I'm done, man. I don't want to talk about them anymore.
I know the feeling. But, all right, I'll talk about my Knicks a bit. It goes back to kind of what I said in the beginning of we're beating the teams that we should beat. We're not necessarily playing as competitive basketball against the teams that we should lose to. Like, we were relatively competitive with the Bucks for about half the game or so, and then it started to get out of hand a little bit, which we have. You know what? I'm actually going to walk back what I was just going to say. I was going to say that we don't really have an answer for Giannis, but we should. That's the fucking thing, is that I actually think that Mitchell Robinson is very overpaid and very overrated. I know he had 6 blocks the other night. I know that he is a defensive force in the paint, but to me, there's just so much squandered potential there.
Yeah.
I want to see a double-double from him every night. There is no reason that he cannot put... I'm not asking for... ridiculous. Like, I'm not asking for Embiid. I'm not asking for him to learn how to shoot. But, like, he has all the physical tools to be as offensively competitive as, let's say, DeAndre Ayton. I don't know why he can't. He now has a team around him that can provide the playmaking to do it. You know, Jalen Brunson.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, dude.
Man.
He has been...
It's been amazing.
Beyond as advertised. I'm thrilled with his presence. But to me, that should also unlock more of Mitch's offensive game. RJ, although I haven't been absolutely thrilled with his performance, he does show he's had some really nice passes. His playmaking ability is increasing. Again, that should help unlock Mitch a bit more, but it doesn't. So even though he still is a bit of a defensive force and he gets crazy blocks, I feel like him not providing us more is one of the things that is actually holding us back a bit.
Yeah. And I know we talked about him a lot in the past, and I felt like you guys should have been gotten rid of him. Like I remember the doubles back then in the past seasons, and I was just never impressed with him as a player. I just felt like you guys should have just gotten rid of him, man. Like there's plenty of other like viable centers out there. I mean, you guys got Hartenstein, who, in my opinion, he's a really good center. But there were in the past there were other centers.
I will say Hartenstein doesn't really offer much on defense.
Yeah.
I still really, at this point, obviously Brunson's overtaken him for what I think is the best signing we did this offseason.
Yeah.
But I still really like the Hartenstein signing. He's great offensively. He's hit some really nice threes at really nice points.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a starting center, but
he's honestly probably one of the better offensive bench centers.
Yep. And it's just, I don't know. Didn't you guys pay Mitchell?
Yeah, we did pay Mitch.
I just don't think that was ever a good move.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it's like 15 to 18 a year. So it's not like he's not getting 30 a year, but he's also not getting pennies either. I want more from Mitch. RJ, he's not been shooting very well. And the one thing that I will say about RJ's game is like, and we've talked about this before, in this league, like you can't only have your spots because people will figure you out and people will defensively scheme in a way that you cannot get to your spot. And RJ's thing is he likes to get to his left hand. People can just not let him get to his left hand. And then what is he going to do? He's also being borderline overworked defensively because he's always asked. He's not asked to guard the best player on the floor. There are times where he is just simply asked to guard whoever has the ball. And that's a lot. That's a lot for somebody. And that's a Tibbs thing, I guess. But I don't think it's helping with his offensive capabilities. Jalen Brunson, man.
It looks good, man.
He looks really good. He is beyond as advertised. I'm very happy with Brunson. I think that he is the epitome of a floor general that he may not... he did have a career high in assists the other night. I think it was 13. He may not be getting double-doubles every game. He may not be approaching triple-doubles. But he has so many things that don't show up on a stat sheet. Like, we know what Randall likes to do. Randall likes to play bully ball, iso ball. He really likes to attack along the baseline. And Brunson is great at creating those opportunities for Randall. Randall's game has been great. The other night, especially against the Bucks, like they weren't really pressing him at the 3-point line, and they were kind of giving him room, and he was taking threes, and they were absolutely horrible. And I really wish that he would have stopped shooting. But if he ends up in an opportunity where he loves size mismatches, so you get him in a size mismatch, get him the ball. And Brunson is great at creating that mismatch and great at knowing when to get him the ball. And I really do think that has changed Julius's game a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not like I'm not like, oh my God, we need to keep Julius on this team forever. But I do like what I've seen out of him so far. I still believe that we have one of the better benches in the entire league, especially when D Rose gets going, man. D Rose is he's D Rose.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know that I need to explain what he brings. He's gotten such a good 3-point shot over the years.
Yeah, man, that's one of the parts of his game that evolved.
And you don't always see that, you know? And then Obi. The dude is literally, even if he's not shooting well, and even if he's not putting the numbers up, the energy that he brings to the court is outrageous. You know, he is just an immediate shot of energy to the entire team. And especially when they're at home, like, dude, his windmill dunks and like his E-Space, like it just brings so much energy to the entire arena. And it really, like, there aren't many players that unlock what I feel to be like the benefits of playing at the quote unquote Mecca. And Obi is one of those players that I think he really does. You almost need to be a little bit showboaty and you know,
especially in that arena.
Yeah, because like what good is a home court advantage then?
Right.
So, you know, Obi, I feel good about. IQ, Emmanuel Quickly. Some games I love him, some games I hate him because like I love his aggressiveness, but I would have hoped to see his shooting be a little bit more consistent by now, because he's still the kind of shooter where, you know, obviously he's chucking up a ton of threes.
Yeah.
And one game he'll be 4 for 6, and then the next he'll be 0 for 8. And while at times it'll average out to be okay, I would prefer to see that floor raised a little bit.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So you guys look good right now. What if you got, like, do you regret your team not trading for Donovan Mitchell? Because imagine Brunson and Mitchell right now. Imagine Brunson, Mitchell. I imagine Julius Randle would probably still be there. Like, just imagine your core team. We know you would have to give up RJ.
But see, here's the thing is, like, it's hard for me to even answer that because I believe that the quote-unquote supposed packages that we had offered to them on the table were superior to what the Cavs offered them.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think the trade was ever even there. I don't think the intent was ever there to get him to the Knicks. I think that Ainge legitimately did want to just fuck us.
Oh, man.
So
I'm just thinking about Donovan Mitchell and Brunson together.
That's like, to me, it almost, yes, it was talked about so much in the offseason. It was probably that and the KD situation were the most talked about things this offseason.
Yep.
And I think that despite of how talked about it was, it would almost be saying like, wow, what if the Knicks traded for Steph? Like, I almost feel like that's how far we were from that trade actually happening.
Yeah.
So while, yes, I can sit here and say that it would be great and imagine the Knicks with Donovan Mitchell, but I could also say imagine the Knicks with Stephen Curry. You know, like, I really, really, truly believe that trade was just not even in the realm of possibility.
I think it was possible. I just, like you said, I think Ainge would have wanted a little bit more. But just looking at who you, like, the biggest players for you guys right now, I don't think it would have affected you guys that much. I think there was probably a package where you still end up with Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, Derrick Rose would still probably be there. And then from there, I feel like you could have filled out the team a little bit more too.
We could have.
Or maybe you got lucky and gave away Mitch for like one of their backup centers or something that would probably fit a little better and play better.
Yeah, I mean, I would have felt good about that. I do think that the Knicks are going to chase somebody at the deadline, probably. I mean, they always kind of try to.
Yeah.
I really want it to be SGA. I think that, I mean, ideally I would love it to be Luka, and I've said this to you 1,000 times of like, what would it take? Well, first off, what would it take for Luka to want out? Secondly, how many picks am I allowed to trade? Can I give? I think I want to say like 7 or 8 is basically the max number. So yes, give them all. Give RJ. Like I would give anything for Luka. But then I also think that okay, well that would put Brunson and Luka back together again, and I don't think Brunson would be very thrilled about that because obviously the ball would be out of his hands a lot. You know, there's too many weird things about that. But SGA I think would make sense. I think that it could be doable because, you know, OKC is out of all of the teams in the NBA, I feel like they're generally the quickest to be like, fuck it, we're tanking.
Yeah.
And SGA is single-handedly winning them games right now.
Man, one of the best young players in the league right now.
He really is.
He's having his way. I watched both Clippers games, and he made their defense just look like food.
Dude, he just beat Luka.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. They came back from 16. They were down 16 in the fourth.
Yeah, and he took it to overtime. And I mean, Luka was amazing because he had one of his crazy triple doubles that he has, and he outscored and whatnot SGA, but SGA played winning basketball. And SGA, one of the things that I love about him the most is he fills the entire stat sheet. Like the other night, he had like 3 or 4 steals and 3 or 4 blocks.
Yeah.
Along with 30 points and 8 assists and 6 rebounds and only like 2 or 3 turnovers. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Like you said, his 3-point shooting is probably the critique of his game.
But he doesn't even need to take threes.
Bingo.
Yeah. He'll take like 1 or 2 a game.
But the thing, so
and make one.
He had a super clutch a buzzer beater one the other night, and that was the first 3 he took all game.
Yeah, he
drilled it.
He knows his game and he plays within it, and he's just good. He's just
a good
player.
size guard. He's the magic number. He's 6'6".
Yep.
And I really do think do I got to give up RJ? Okay, done.
Yeah.
Honestly, for SGA. The crazy thing about him is I almost feel like he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
He is, 100%. It's because he plays for OKC. Nobody's watching those games. Nobody's paying attention to him.
Yeah, nobody's really paid attention to them since fucking pizza roll era. But like
pizza roll era.
but I think this team with him would be ridiculous, and I think that Brunson would be still the primary ball handler. And I think that we've almost never really seen SGA as a true 2 guard, even though I think that he'd be phenomenal as one. So if we can make that happen, I think that's the deal to do. I think that's the deal that we unload RJ for. I like RJ, and I was close to buying an RJ jersey a couple times. That actually says a lot right there. Is there? I wouldn't know who to buy a jersey of this current Knicks team, and that is a problem. Yet if they traded for SGA, I would go out and buy one tomorrow.
Yeah. Honestly, now we're talking about it, I think, because the Knicks are going to be good, but I think
they're not good enough.
I think we both had them like, play-in status?
Yeah, I think they're a play-in team. And I think they're still on pace for that. I think they can beat the teams they're quote-unquote supposed to be able to beat.
The upcoming schedule is tough.
It is tough, and we'll learn a lot. Like, I did learn a lot in that Bucks game. They were like moderately competitive up until the half.
Yeah.
And then things started to get out of hand a bit. They did bring it closer, but it felt like it was one of those situations where the Bucks were just managing the game.
Yeah, and you're supposed to lose to the Bucks.
Yes.
But I said that to say maybe you guys are like a RJ trade away from being like a 6-5 seed, because
that could be, and if it is SGA, I think that's a possibility. It would depend on what else we'd have to give up, because the thing is in any trade, we would deplete what is probably currently our biggest strength, which is our bench.
Yeah.
So it would really come down to who else needs to be included. I think a best possible situation for us would be a deal based on RJ and Mitch, because that's a nice chunk of money there.
and then you throw in like two picks, 3 depending on who the player that you're bringing in.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing in the NBA right now is unprotected picks. So like if we do 3 picks, 2 unprotected, RJ, Mitch, and then I think that it would probably break my heart to break up IQ and Obi, but like if we threw IQ in that, because I think that let's say Miles McBride might be ready for some more opportunity.
Man, 2 players, 3 picks, I feel like that's enough. I don't even think you need to throw in another player in there. And if it does, it shouldn't be a good player off the bench.
But that's the thing. I actually, like I said, I have my concerns about IQ.
Yeah.
And he turns the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
So we are a trade away from being into that next tier. And I really hope that's the trade to make.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there has to be some move out there. I don't think OKC will be asking I don't think they have a crazy price on SGA.
But the problem is if that is the price for SGA, would be RJ, Mitch, and 3 picks, there are a lot of other teams that can match that. That's what concerns me if that's what the price is.
That is true. Yeah. But OKC is a pretty good organization. I think they would send him to somewhere he would want to be. So I guess he would just have to want to be a Knick, and I think they can make it happen.
Well, being in the small market of OKC, you learn less about people's personalities. I do know that he's from Canada.
Yeah.
So maybe being up north would help a little bit. I really don't know much about him personality-wise. I don't know if he wants to be in a big market.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see. I think that he would thrive there. I think that he would be phenomenal.
100%. And while we're on the topic of SGA, so, I mean, we know how the Clippers are doing. We know who they sent away to get Kawhi and Paul George together. Do they regret that trade in the near future? And when I say near future, I mean like next year or the year after. SGA is on the rise. Looks like one of the better young players in the league. Kawhi has missed 4 games in a row, and Paul George stinks. Paul George stinks.
So I'm actually going to say no. They should. So the answer is they should, but they probably don't, because they actually played quite well and got pretty deep into the playoffs last year with just Paul George. Paul George played very well last year.
Yeah, but are they happy about, like, they've never been to the finals.
I mean, if I was a Clippers fan, I would just never be happy. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're gonna look back.
Who else was in that trade?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Let me look it up.
SGA and a bunch of picks. Yeah, like, I just think at some point, like, you got to look back and say, did we make a mistake? Kawhi's missed so many games. I mean, and we kind of knew that was going to happen regardless, but they're always getting to the playoffs and, if we had both players, like, we would have did this and that, but you never have both players. I think at some point you just got to look back on this.
Gallinari.
Who was a Celtic now? Was it? Who else was a part of that?
5 first-round picks. That was it. SGA,
Sheesh.
Gallinari, and 5 first-round picks.
Sheesh.
I wonder if...
Talking about mortgaging your future. Like, we don't talk about the Clippers enough. I feel like everyone always brings up, like, the Lakers. Oh, they traded everything away for AD, but they want a chip out of it.
Even
the Clippers they haven't gotten anything. They got a Western Conference Finals berth.
Even without knowing what SGA was going to turn into, Paul George is, I'm sorry, not worth that.
Yeah, it was more of they traded for
It was
Paul
desperation.
George they traded knowing that if they got Paul George, Kawhi was coming too. So we have to look at the trade as they traded all of that for Paul George and Kawhi. And I think that makes it look better. But fast forward to now.
Yeah, it makes it easier to swallow.
Yeah, fast forward to now, though, like, it doesn't look like a good move. Like, they traded their future to contend. make the playoffs, which they were already doing. The only thing that they can say they accomplished in this run is making the Western Conference Finals, but Kawhi wasn't there. So we all knew they weren't going to win. I don't know, man.
I'm trying to see if I can find like a summary of what those picks turned into.
Oh, like what players they are now.
Yeah, but like the picks was just a mishmash of like, so one of them was the 2021 Heat unprotected first rounder, 2022 Clippers first rounder. So it was a mix of Heat and Clippers picks and some swaps. So it's kind of hard to decipher, but
yeah, man, it's gonna be tough for them. I mean, especially if they don't do anything this season, this is gonna be like a big failure on the Clippers. Which, I mean, they've had so many of them, so I guess it's just like, where does this fall?
Yeah, I'm sure the Clippers fans would probably say with the rest of them.
Yeah, they're used to it at this point.
Yeah, used to the pain. I know what that's like.
Hey, but you guys aren't throwing your entire future away to still lose. Like, at least you guys are building on something. You guys have young players that you've groomed up.
Yes, and you know, to go back to the Donovan Mitchell possibility, some part of me was slightly glad that we didn't mortgage the entire future.
It's different though.
Because I will say, let's look at it this way. So you said if you think that SGA could be had for, you know, let's say RJ, Mitch, or two players and 3 picks.
And 3 picks.
We definitely wouldn't have been able to get Donovan Mitchell for that.
Man.
So,
but
who's a better? Who would you rather have, SGA or Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell. I'd rather have Donovan Mitchell. On the Knicks, I think it's the same. I still think I want Donovan Mitchell. Because if you think about it like this, so
I honestly don't know.
To compare it, like the Clips, they traded for older players who, like, in a couple years they're gonna be role player basically. Donovan Mitchell's young. I don't know how old he is off the top of my head, but he's like what, 24, 25? Like,
they're
Donovan
both
Mitchell's
young.
a young player. He hasn't even really hit his prime.
I want to say he's 24.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell hasn't even hit his prime yet, and he's already dropping 41 and going crazy. I don't think SGA is as good as Donovan Mitchell, but that's not saying that SGA isn't really, really good.
Oh, Spite is 26.
He's 26.
Actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's still young. I mean, I'm 26. He's still super young, and the difference, Donovan Mitchell wins playoff games.
Yes, but I mean, SGA hasn't had that opportunity, so we don't really know.
Was he with the Clippers? I guess he was really young when he was on the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, he did play with the Clippers, and 2019, 2020, the OKC was in the playoffs, and he was in that. So he played 7 games. He played 6 with the Clippers in 18-19, and then he played 7, looks like, with OKC that year. But he wasn't, I mean, we're talking several years ago, he wasn't the player that he is now. So he averaged with the Clippers in those 6 games 13.7, and with OKC 16.3. So yeah, they're not phenomenal numbers, but those were also his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I could understand it. And how old is SGA?
SGA is 24.
Okay. I mean, so what, 2 years off? Yeah, I'm taking Donovan Mitchell. That's just a 2-year difference. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell 100%. Especially, like, if we're just talking Knicks right now, I think Donovan Mitchell fits better with Brunson than SGA does. So I'm definitely taking Donovan Mitchell. You got your number one option. You got somebody capable of dropping 40. I just think they look better. I think they look better with him. He's exciting. When he dunks, it's different from when SGA dunks in the Garden. Like, I don't know. At some point,
yeah, because there's like 5 inches difference between the two, so one of them gets way less dunks.
Yeah. So like that, At some point, you guys have to cash in on what you guys have built if it's not working right now. Because I don't see anything to where you guys are going to win in the future with the current players. I think at some point you have to cash in on what you've earned and put together and try to go after like a second round Western or Eastern Conference Finals exit. Because I don't think you're championship ready yet. But I keep telling you this, Donovan Mitchell was something you could build around. That's somebody
I think they both are.
SGA, I don't know.
The only thing with SGA is obviously there's more of an injury history there.
Yeah.
And Donovan Mitchell, I don't remember any serious injuries in his career.
No, he hasn't had any serious ones. It's just Donovan Mitchell in the Garden sounds like, yo, I want to go join that. SGA in the Garden, I don't know.
I don't even really buy that because I don't know. Wasn't there like some poll around the players in the league that playing in the Garden isn't as big of a deal as the media makes it out to be or something?
Yeah, I do remember that. I don't know. I just look at it so different. I always think if you want to build a championship team, like you got to start out with that one superstar. And Donovan Mitchell would have been that one. You wait for a couple contracts to fall off while he's still young, and then you be able to sign or trade and get like another big contract, and you got something cooking.
But that's also why I'm saying, like, if it's at all possible, 7, 8 picks, 5 players for Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic in the Garden. Who would not want to join that?
Yeah, but that's just like what ifs at this point. Like Mitchell was actually possible. Mitchell was actually possible.
But see, Luka, I really do have a hard time believing that it was.
Well, we don't know. We can only go off of what was in the news, and the news said it was possible. There was a deal, and I think the Knicks pulled out, right? Because they didn't want to give up that much. From what I read, there was a deal out there. The Knicks didn't want to do it.
If I recall, there was supposedly a deal that was like on the table and the Knicks pulled out from. But then also we had reports come out that, Ainge was never serious about ever sending him to the Knicks, and he was just fucking with the Knicks. So you don't know what to believe.
That's in poor taste then, if you're just doing stuff like that.
Dude, for real. And if that's legitimate, like I want to be bitter and say, hey, how do we investigate this man? Because that's a shitty way of fucking doing business. Like, if we had the better offer on the table and you didn't want to go with it just because it's the Knicks, that to me hurts the integrity of the league.
Yeah, and we know it happens, but GM should just never operate like that. That's just not. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for the team. It's not good for the fans. Like, not good for just NBA fans. Like, why would you operate that way? It's supposed to be about making your team better and, winning games. But whatever.
Yeah, like you said, we know that it happens. It's just, it shouldn't be that obvious.
Yeah.
But, hey, at least, actually the game started a couple minutes ago, Knicks Cavs. We're into it a little bit. Right now, the Knicks are up 11-7. Just saying.
Oh. Well, actually, it just changed for me. I see 11-10 now. So somebody hit a 3 for the Cavs. Oh, Donovan Mitchell.
All right. Well, I think we've beat both the Knicks and the Lakers.
Yeah. Into
the ground at this point. Oh, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Beat themselves into the ground. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, at this point, like I said, we're after tonight probably an average of 6 games played for most teams in the league, and starting to get a little bit of a picture. So, we just kind of laid out our thoughts of what we see so far, and you'll be getting an update from us soon.
Yeah. See you guys. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.
Hey, maybe the Lakers will have a win.
Oh, man.
Maybe Russ won't be on the team.
One can only hope.
Hope is all we have sometimes. And on that note, Downtown Dimes is out. Thank you guys.